Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Trend Digest. My name is Nana Ebo, of course, with double H at the back, and I am here with Awuchi. Make we get straight into His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. His first week in office, and this man is really working. I must say he's really working. In fact, what he's doing in his first week, you make it get straight into He has actually brought out the first batch of regional ministers in his first week. Just 7 days in office. Well, the member, yeah, aware of the people. The first batch now, abano. Make you aware of the people who he has actually brought out. So the first one I have here with me is the northern region. We have the regional minister over there is Ali Adolf John. At the OT region, we have John Kwajo Japan. Volta region, we have James Gunu. Eastern, we have Mrs. Rita Akusia Ajay Awate. And northeast, we have Ibrahim Tia. Ashanti region, we have Dr. Frank Amoakohene. Yes, and upper east, we have Akamugiri Donatus Atanga. Ahafo, we have Charity Gardner. Savannah, we have Salisu Be Awurebe. Greater Accra, we have Linda Oklu. No. So, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the first batch of regional ministers are within the first week. It is very quick, and he is working with a very, very good pace, which I must say, it is something we are actually supposed to praise him for. But then let me ask Awuche what he thinks about that too. His first week in office.
All right, Nana. So the first 7 days of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, a lot of people would say it's early day yet. So we cannot really judge based on what he's doing in just 7 days because he has a whole 4 years to go.
Yeah.
And right now, if you come to heap praises on him, it will be premature ejaculation. But trust me, in the place where I come from, the Ashanti region, there is an adage that agrobe that if you are not what I say. So looking at how His Excellency John Dramani has conducted himself in the first 7 days, looking at the number of ministers which are currently even undergoing scrutiny in Parliament by the committee and all that, it is impressive because if we are comparing that to His Excellency John Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, I remember it took about 60 days to get even the machinery in place, even when the ministers were coming out. So it is very surprising to see how fast His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is moving. And I think it is the reason why in his campaign song, Nasi named it Prr, because right from the start, right from the day he was ushered into presidency. No, it wasn't even when he was ushered into presidency. So he has a vision. One of his vision is to ensure that people who have looted the country are going to bring back whatever they looted. And he set up a committee called the Oral Committee. This Oral Committee was even constituted before we had his inauguration. So it means the moment we said go, he meant action. And this is someone who has gone back to learn a lot. And I am so much impressed with how he's moving. Now I can say he's a true leader because he has reflected on the mistakes he made some 4 years ago and he has come back stronger. Now I can say he's a shining leader because how he's blossoming, it's above my imagination, and I can't even find the right adjectives to describe how he's moving. That notwithstanding, we are only hoping that he is going to keep the consistency, because like I said earlier on, 7 days is too early.
Sure.
You get. So we are hoping His Excellency John Dramani Mahama keeps up the composure. He maintains the momentum and run the same pace as which he has run from the first day, which he was declared the rightful winner of our election. And he was inaugurated some 7 days ago. We are hoping he continues that pace because looking at what he's doing, it's above imagination.
All right. So let's get into the ministers he has actually.
All right. The regional ministers.
The regional ministers are already about out now.
All right. So Nana, talking about the regional ministers, I would want us to note certain key things. And today I am going to speak about just 2 key things. So His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has made it very clear to Ghanaians that he believes in women empowerment. You see, it has been a long time where women have always been advocating that we don't give them equal rights, equal positions, equal everything like we do unto men. But when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was looking for somebody to vie for the high office of the president with, he made sure that he ran with a woman. as the vice president. Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman. And she is the current and the only female vice president, or the first female vice president of the Republic of Ghana. And this is a huge feat. This is history. Now let's look at the list he has brought today. You would note that again, he has named 3 feminine people in the list. Out of 10 regional ministers, we have 3 regional ministers who are females. And this goes a long way to talk about how he's committed about women empowerment.
True.
And that is the reason why he says he's going to build a women's bank. So this is a man who means what he's saying, and he means business. The next thing I am going to talk about is, you see, let me take us back. Some years ago when the MPP was in power, I remember Honorable K.T. Hammond was interviewed and he was asked about the youth. And he said something. Osi, muna muti wanu muti koto na muni bibia womuno. And nothing ye kasi ye pe bibia ye kasi ye kwa ko ho abere waba na nyam mo. E mantia ne maba wana muti koto no. So it means the MPP did not believe in the youth. They believed that in the old age, said the MPP ye kanu, they say gray hair, Emma, Adrian, and all that. So they believe that they can build the country with the aged people. Recently, Mr. Kwabena before was interviewed, and he was asked that if he is going to come back into any position, notably either the governor of Bank of Ghana, minister of finance, or whatever be it, his response was impressive. He said that it is good that people are acknowledging the fact that he's a guru, but now he and other people have to sit back and they have to motivate the young ones and encourage them and give them the right ways through which they can govern the country, because the country is for the youth. And today, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has exhibited that in this regional ministers list he has brought out. So I am going to go straight to the Ashanti region. And in the Ashanti region, he has named Dr. Frank Amoakohene as the regional minister for Ashanti region. I think that he is the youngest regional minister ever. I stand to be corrected though, but I think this might be right, because we have not seen any regional minister in his early 30s. And this is a man. This is Dr. Frank Amoakohene. Let me give you a brief history about the political journey of Dr. Frank Amoakohene. So Dr. Frank Amoakohene started his political journey in 2013 to 2014, where he was the UGASA president. And when I talk about UGASA, I am talking about University of Ghana Allied Health Students Association. He was the president in 2013 to 2014. Let me move down to 2015 to 2016. He was the NASAC president. When we say NASAC president, that is the National Health Students Association of Ghana. And way back in 2015-2016, he was the president. In 2016 to 2017, he became the NUCS president. And when I talk about the NUCS president, that is the National Union of Ghana Students. He was the president at the time. When we come back, or when we come down to 2020, that is when he moved into partisan politics. That is when he had joined the NDC fraternity, and he had decided that it was time for him to fight for the red, gold, green colors of the land. That is when he decided to hold the flag of the NDC high. And then he contested for the parliamentary candidate in Asante Mampong. Anybody who knows Asante Mampong would tell you that Asante Mampong is a no-go area for the NDC. But this man believed in himself. This man believed in so many things. And he said, I am going to contest. And since the time of inception of our elections to date, Dr. Frank Amoakohene is on record to have won the greatest number of votes for the NDC in the Asante Mampong area. Now, in 2022 to date, that is when we went to the Baba Yara Stadium. And I remember when we were on the campaign trip, when young men and women, when people were moving from NUCS, when young men and women, energetic people were moving from USAC to come and support their own Dr. Frank Amoakohene. I remember one of the commentaries which were made at the Baba Yara Stadium. You people think it is a school election we are going to run. This country or this election is not one for young people, but it's one for the experience. It's one for the old age. This was even intra-politics. And these were the commentaries which were coming up. People labeled the campaign of Dr. Frank Amoakohene as a TikTok election. And I remember, and I know when Doctor watches this, he is going to laugh over this, because they told us, they told the team that this is not a TikTok election. But this man with little experience, with not so much influence in the NDC, out of nowhere, a little boy from Ashanti Mampo decided to run for the Ashanti Regional General Secretary of the NDC, and he won comfortably. It tells you that this is a young man full of potential. And when you go to the Ashanti region, anybody in the Ashanti region, whether NPP or NDC, they will tell you that they don't play with Dr. Frank Amoakohene. They will tell you that Dr. Frank Amoakohene is a gem within the region. And Dr. Frank Amoakohene is one who is going to be safeguarded at all costs for the Ashanti region. So it is not surprising that when you see the commitment of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to this young man who has done a young man's job right from the time of the campaign. This gentleman, I remember when we were having the elections, I sat with him one-on-one. We had an interview, and when I was interviewing him, I was a host and he was a guest. This man could mention the 47 constituencies or so in the Ashanti region without looking on anything. He mentioned every parliamentary candidate contesting on the ticket of the NDC. And it tells you that the Ashanti region has a gem. So if today His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has named Dr. Frank Amoakohene as the Ashanti Regional Minister Designate, then this goes a long way to give hope to the young men and women out there that indeed hard work pays. If Dr. Frank Amoakohene has been rewarded, then this is a win for the youth of the country. And to my senior brother, Dr. Frank Amoakohene, wherever you are, this is a plea from me to you. All I am going to say to you at this point is the youth of the country are going to rally behind you. The youth from the Ashanti region, we are going to do everything we can to make sure that Dr. Frank Amoakohene, you are going to be successful as the Ashanti Regional Secretary. And even if we have to sacrifice our lives for you to know that the Ashanti region is going to be a big one and it's going to be a turning point for the election, let's say, regime within the country. Doctor, we are ready to do it. So we are only telling you that we have entrusted our faith in you. Before we came onto this podcast, a friend of mine in the NPP sent me a message that a win for Dr. Frank Amoakohene is a win for the youth of this country. And wherever they are, whether they belong to the red, white, and blue, whatever fraternity, or they belong to the NDC fraternity, they are going to ensure that they are going to rally behind him so that he succeeds. Because if he succeeds, the next president of Ghana, which is obviously not going to be His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, because he only has 4 years, the next president of the land would see that when a youth became the regional secretary for one of the biggest regions in the country, he excelled so well. So let's put enough hope in the youth so that the youth can come with the energy and raise Ghana to where Dr. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah envisaged Ghana to be. So Dr. Frank Amoakohene, we are always going to be behind you. If you remember, on the 9th of December, when the oppressor, when the military people at the regional office of the Electoral Commission in the Ashanti region brought some of us up, me, I was an example, and you know that I had to face military brutality at the regional office, and this is something I've never spoken about anywhere. The military beat me as if I was a criminal at the EC regional office, just because we were talking about things the EC was doing, and we had to make some snaps or videos of people, the battalions of military they had brought there. So, doctor, just as I was saying, the boys are ready to support you, to rally behind you, to ensure that your tenure is going to be a successful one. So this is an investment into the youth. So His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, thank you very much for the belief you have had in Dr. Frank Amoakohene. And like I said, we are always going to be there to support you, to ensure that this tenure would be something delivered fresh from nature God.
Dr. Obojuma, I didn't do deserve it. And you can't be brave. Unim. That's your multi simple. I was a for your phone. That's your